Here we are, guys. Here we are for another one, live Q&A. We're back after a 2-week hiatus due to the holidays. I actually took a much-needed vacation last week, and probably could tell by a little bit of tan that I got. But I'm happy to be back. For me to take a vacation is somewhat rare, but also I'm a workaholic, and vacations are not as fun as what they are for a lot of people. I spent a lot of time over the break just contemplating different things. We have a lot of updates coming here soon. First of all, this week we're going to be introducing our next themed live stream, which we're going to continue to do on a weekly basis, which is the reaction based live stream, where we're going to, should I say myself, going to react to different creators' content, other bigger or just as big, if you will, other creators on YouTube that cover specifically Google ads is what I know the most about. I mean, of course, at our agency, we manage all kinds of PPC ads, but my specialty is Google ads. Of course, a lot of, as you guys know, and I'm going to watch their content and react to it. A lot of people think reaction channels are pretty lame, and for the most part, I agree that they are. It's low effort content, but I think a lot of you guys want to know what to pay attention to, what's crap, what's not crap, because as much as I could say most of the information on YouTube online is crap in this space, because it is, and I'll say that without any kind of reservations. Say at the same time, some of it is okay. Nothing really out there is truly amazing. It's very rare to see that, but it's going to be helpful because not just that you know what else to pay attention to, because you shouldn't just necessarily watch me alone, but why it doesn't work, what they're saying, what they're saying should not be paid attention to ultimately. Because people, the whole reason why this whole pay-per-click advertising space is a joke to begin with is all you have to do to make money in this business is just know slightly more than your client or your audience in this case. And so you could know almost nothing, but to somebody who knows almost nothing, you sound like a genius already. And that's why these guys get by with what they do. So an actual expert is going to review supposed other experts' content to tell you how much of what they're saying actually is expert content. Now, obviously, you could also say, I don't know everything about everything, and I don't. But ultimately, it's like if somebody was pretending to be a doctor on YouTube and then a real doctor reviewed what they were saying, they would be able to point it out some pretty obvious inaccuracies of what they're saying. Not to say they would also know everything, but you get what I'm basically saying. So we're gonna have that. We have 2 other live streams that we're opening up soon. One of which we're gonna do a niche level analysis. So you guys are gonna pick a niche. I'm first gonna go through a bunch of niches that we've already operated in, and I'm gonna say, okay, here's the ads, here's the landing pages, here's everything basically that we ran in this niche here and why it works, and here's how to do a good ad in this space, and as a kind of like a mini tutorial on how to actually set up ads correctly. And this isn't just going to be Google ads, Facebook ads, and other ads. As a real way, I could teach you how to run ads, but if you don't get real world examples of this stuff, you're not going to really pick up what you need to pick up. And that's what's lacking out there, right? You got all these guys blabbing about, content strategities and all this, but you don't actually get to see real stuff. So we're going to review that. And then after a while, you guys will give me niches and I'll talk about, the other people running ads in that niche and what's good, what's not. And we'll do that type of thing too. And then finally, we're of course going to have a live stream where we're going to just start a business from zero in the towing space. I talked about how we're going to have somebody that we employ / partner with that's going to take the calls for a towing campaign that we run. We're going to flip the leads to towing company operators to make a profit. And I specifically picked this business not only because I'm familiar with this space, but also I want to give going back to the realism and learning from real world things, you to understand what works from a real live case scenario. And specifically, a lot of you guys are just looking to run ads because you want to be, nobody wants to work in a cubicle till they die. Everybody would like to be able to be self-employed. And this is kind of like a mini tutorial on how to do it for anybody who would like to do it. And when I do say anybody, I do mean anybody, because you literally could just buy a template from us that works, run it, answer the damn phone, and take the orders and be done. I mean, if you cannot say that it's too hard to start a business when that's about as easy as it possibly gets. And we'll prove that out, how somebody can do this literally starting without being a PPC expert, just because they use our template. So with the last 2 live streams that I mentioned, you're getting what I normally would charge several grand for in terms of a template, sell to a customer. Here's copy paste results for a certain niche. We're going to just be giving that stuff to you for free. If you want a certain niche, of course, you'll still have to pay for this, but we're going to do this. And ultimately, we'll have those live streams. I plan on starting those 2 other live streams within the next 60 days, basically. So those will be coming in as well. And then, of course, on the last live Q&A that I had here, I also talked about how we were slowly rolling out, introducing our in-house click fraud solution to you guys and to the public, and starting with you guys who follow the channel. I talked about, as far as I am concerned, I don't know anybody who talks about click fraud to the level I'm talking about it and to the frequency I'm talking about it. Yeah, people dabble in talking about a little bit about this and that out there, but it's mostly very, very surface level. And it doesn't really get to the heart of the issues, how bad it is, how to fix it, most importantly. And with our clients, we have to literally guarantee results for our clients. And because of that, I know a lot of people that watch this channel got haters. They hate the fact that, I'm maybe ruining the market. But bottom line is, we don't get paid unless the client gets the results. And to do that, we had to get rid of click fraud. We can't just ignore it like everybody else would try to do. They don't need to necessarily worry if there's no results or not. Not to say you guys are doing this, but we're forced to do this. So we built a tool in-house to fix this after studying it for a long time, and then it worked well. So we introduced it to the public, of which we have a beta version, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's the working version that's been tested for close to 6 months now. And I'm offering it for free to anybody who wants to try it out for themselves. It has a monitor only mode where you could literally see how much click fraud it's going to pick up before you apply it to your website, and then apply it, and then right away get a bunch of credits in your advertising account. Because the way that it works is it site checks the user before they're allowed to download your web page or landing page or website. During the first couple 100 milliseconds of downloading the web page, it checks to see if that looks like a bot. If it is, it doesn't let the page load, of which generally Google, Facebook, and Bing will give you a credit for that click when it is. And the average person's going to see 20 to 50% of their traffic being bots of some sort and kicked out from being able to visit the website. So yes, they're clicking on your ad, but you're getting not charged for these clicks if the website doesn't load, because the ad platform typically gives you a refund for clicks that don't actually result in somebody that they see loads the website, because that looks like a bot to them. So I mentioned this on my live last week, and we got 5 of you guys already trying the software. People are liking it. So, I wouldn't recommend it if I weren't using it myself. We use it for all our clients. You should use it as well. It works for e-commerce, non-e-commerce. Just try it for yourself. It's free. I mean, what the hell that you have to lose? You will save a bunch of money on ad clicks right away, but most importantly, you will, just like how conversion tracking makes your lead quality better, makes your ROI better, this puts it on steroids. When you actually get all the bot traffic off your website, the algorithm is going to learn super quick on what exactly to do for you. And that's the even bigger way you make money with it. You'll see huge improvements in your results in 30 to 90 days after implementing this on your web page. So getting instant credits on your ad traffic wasn't enough. That second way is an even greater way to make money using the software. So if you are interested in this, message me through my site, and I'll get you an evaluation copy. All we want to do is just get the word out about it more. We're looking for affiliates that want to sell it. We're going to be giving a big fat reoccurring monthly affiliate commission, not 10%, not 20, 25 plus for anybody who introduces that to other people, to their clients, whatever, whoever. And of course, you're recommending something that works 100 times better than what Click sees, our main competitor, what that does for you ultimately, which is doesn't do basically jack squat. This is the new way of blocking click fraud, and of which you're going to have to learn how to do moving forward, because if you don't, it's getting worse every year. I see it through our agency, and you're just going to get taken out by these guys that are doing click fraud, AI scraper bots, clicking through your ads, everything else. You're going to have to learn how to deal with this sooner than later. And if you wait around, it's going to broadside you at some point in time. So it's best to just get it on your site now. It pays for itself. And even if you were to pay for it, even if you had to pay what you pay ClickSees for it, you'll see, just try it. So appreciate you, my short sales pitch there, if you will, even though I'm not asking for any money. I just feedback at this point in time. We'll get into the Q&A here. So first of all, I just want to say hi to Levi, Luca, of course. Hello, Luca. Thanks for the congratulations on the 10K. Yeah, finally made it. Woo! 10,000. Finally. Only took almost 6 years of daily content publishing on this channel to get to 10,000 finally. Of course, which there's people with bigger followings with less quality content, which are playing all kinds of shenanigans. I've done it the hard and right way. Is it safe for your channel to be doing those reactions? So I don't know. Sometimes in life you just have to try it and then find out for yourself if what you did was stupid or not. I mean, sometimes you can just die and not live another day by doing that. But this particular, I don't know. I'm going to be respectful. I mean, as an expert, if you are so thin-skinned where nobody can review what you're saying and criticize it at all in a respectful manner, you are such a pussy, basically, at the end of the day. I don't know why that would anger people to where they would have to copyright strike my channel just for disagreeing with something they said. But I mean, I don't doubt it on some of these guys, what's going to happen. If it happens, it happens. We'll deal with it as it comes. But frankly, that's what creates healthy, information, how it should be and is created. You can't not think about the academic world. You publish a paper, people criticize it. Why would it be any different on YouTube content? Oh no, nobody can say I'm wrong. Well, that's not how things work ultimately. Otherwise, how are you going to know the paper, or in this case, the channel, is actually right if nobody critiques it at all? People need to critique my own stuff. Critique it in the comments. Create your own reaction videos. You don't like it? Critique it. I'll learn. I'm just going to try to say, maybe that person's right or they're wrong or whatever. That's your right. So we'll see if people get their pennies in a bunch over it or not. Caruso, the boys are back. Welcome. Hi, Mustafa. Where did I go? It's a secret. Caruso, can we sell leads instead of picking up the phone? So everybody wants to be able to have a business where they don't interact with customers at all. And that makes it 10 times harder to do, because your differentiator as a business and value add is providing some level of customer service on the phone, so on and so forth. If all you're going to do is just forward leads, then you better have a really good way of doing copywriting to add value add to the market. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. So whether that be creating a high dollar drop shipping website where you provide excellent sales support and make money that way, or answering the phone and offering consumers a very pleasant experience, and therefore get your booking rates super high, that kind of thing. You're making you're harder on yourself. One thing I've learned in terms of selling leads real quickly is I mean, if you wonder sometimes, like, well, if he's so smart about PPC, why doesn't he just sell leads in the first place? Which is a valid concern. The reality is, I've tried selling leads every which way, and people fuck this up. You send them a form lead, and they'll be like, they'll swear up and down, oh, that lead's shit, Corey. I'm not paying. The lead's fine. They just didn't answer it right. Then they don't have good salespeople. They don't answer the lead fast enough. This. At the end of the day, what I learned is unless you give them a fucking customer on a goddamn silver platter, they're going to complain about the leads, because if they don't know how to generate leads, they don't know how to do sales. Sorry, it's the unfortunate truth and fact about the situation. So good luck trying to make that ultimately work. And that's just the way that it is. So if you are going to sell leads, you need to sell booked appointments, bottom line, or do the monthly management services fees, because ultimately they're going to be more lenient on you at that point in time. Not to say you could offer shitty services there, but when they are literally going to hyper analyze the leads that you've given them, and they're paying on a lead by lead basis, they expect every lead to be like a lay down, take my money, shut up and take my money. And you can't deliver this. That's not how things work. Okay. Mustafa, wait, where can I get the bot click software? Is it out? You got to email me. There's a website that I already got it launched on. It's a SaaS tool. And then I want you to email me first, though, so I can give you the proper instructions on utilizing it, because all the final documentation is not available. Whereas I wrote all the content for the site. I'm working with the designers now to design the look of the website. And if you want a great example of how to make a website that converts, you're going to see one fantastic example. People usually don't go nearly far enough, and especially with SaaS, explaining stuff. We're going to launch that. I'm going to go to town with this thing. We're going to do hella email, cold email, YouTube ads, everything you can think of. Throw everything at this, and I'll document how the business is working and all this along the way. What's the tool called? If I tell you the tool, you'll just Google it, and then you'll go and you'll click and you'll use it without emailing me first. Because Google, it's hilarious, because I haven't even marketing this. And if you Google it, it's already on Google. It's because we were talking about it on Livestream. It like indexes it. So if you want a little tidbit to get something indexed, you just mention it on Livestream. Anyway, Levi, hey, Corey, how and what data should I reintegrate back into Google Ads? So I had some recent videos, by the way, about data strength and that I released recently. And this is all predicated on Google's move into the future. And they're basically formalizing what I've said for years now that you need to do to make money with Google Ads. It's an AI-based platform now. I pull out basically what little hair I have left dealing with a lot of our clients, because they still are stuck in 2015 mode, where they think the ads is like they're running a magazine ad. They placed the ad, it pulled or it didn't pull. It's the absolute opposite of how it actually works. It's all driven off of very complex algorithms. The results you get today is not the results you get tomorrow, a year from now, 10 years from now. 95+% of your results come from the training the algorithm on what results to deliver, even if you think you got the keywords, ads, all that figured out. So with that, it's two major things. It's the conversion data, and then the first party data, that is customer lists, people that, and ideally you segment that out: multi-buyer customers, single buyer customers, people that have subscribed, or people who, if you sell multiple things, people who buy X category versus Y category. Why? Because the algorithm can utilize all that data at a higher level when you segment it out for them, instead of having to sift through it basically on their own. And then when it comes to conversion tracking, doing full funnel conversion tracking every single step of the sales process, from lead generation to qualification to did they get a proposal, did they close, all of this stuff. For e-commerce, tracking everything, not only add to cart, view checkout, but phone calls, contact form submissions, offline orders that may come through, all of it. And because it gives the system the maximum data to work with to optimize your ads with. And people still just are not taking this seriously yet, which is why Google's hammering it now with their recent updates. They're begging, pleading people to start taking this seriously because this is how their system's set up. But people aren't sending the right data to the platform, and then they're wondering what the hell's going on. I could tell you, I'm not a genius. Most of our results at our agency that we get for clients is just the proper data management, specifically the stuff I'm talking about, and maintaining it, not just setting it up and be like, oh, okay, it's done. No, you're auditing it at least once a month as to, is it still working right? To maintain it all the time. Just that thing alone, you could have a absolute crap rat's nest of a campaign. You run that with that type of setup, it's almost bound to work anyway at this point in time. Yeah, it might take 6, 12, 18 months to work as opposed to 3 months if you just set up the campaigns tighter. But this is how good their algorithms are now. So the whole, what's the magic button I can press to make this work? It's really short-sighted to think this way until you've done all of that. Just bottom line up front first. Everybody tries skipping it because they just don't want to take it seriously, and it's a huge mistake. Carousel, what's the lowest hanging fruit for a DGen campaign or an affiliate offer? Is search term segmentation with image ads the best place to start? And which placements would you test first? YouTube, Discover, or Gmail? Usually at demand gen, I'm going to test image ads to see if an audience will even work and an offer will work, because I can get that done quickly, right? Not always. I mean, granted, video will typically work better because you can communicate a lot more through your ad itself versus an image ad. Some occasions that's not the case. There's the main value proposition can be summed up in 5 words or less, and then an image ad is going to often do better than a video ad in that particular case. So I would usually, which placement would I start first for affiliate marketing? So you're basically dealing with no pre-existing customer audience, trust, anything like this at all. Then for the most part, I'm just going to run YouTube and Gmail, and ultimately image ads or video ads, or maybe both. It's, for the most part, if you're doing affiliate, right, to make that work, I would probably test 100 different offers. If I was in your position, you held a gun to my head and said, Corey, you got to get an affiliate offer to work using demand gen campaigns, or I'm going to blow your head off. Basically, that's what I'm going to do. Why? Because it's going to be way more about the offer than anything itself. And a lot of those affiliate offers, the reason why they have an affiliate offer is because they can't market it very well on their own using ads. And that's because the product or service is not enough in demand to, even with a good PPC manager, to get it to work. Now, that isn't always the case. Obviously, they both can be true. Ads can work and an affiliate offer can work. But the main thing is that you always have hanging over your head with affiliate is they pay so little money to their affiliates. They're not going to be like at our fraud, anti-click fraud software company where we're going to give you a 25% reoccurring commission. They're going to give you 5%. And it's almost virtually impossible to make money as a result of this because they pay you so little unless you really misrepresent something. And like I said, that's essentially what I've saw any successful affiliate that I've ran across near term all are doing. They'll just say like, health insurance for $7 a month, click here, which it's not true. And then they send that to the company and they're just hoping enough of it sticks on the other side that they don't get booted off from their affiliate, right? And get kicked off from Google because the commissions are not high enough to market it honestly and still make it work. So affiliate would be absolutely not what I'd rather literally go try to start an offline business than try to make affiliate offers work. Unless you're going to do really sketchy stuff like that, which even if you do, your problem is going to be keeping the ads going. I don't like to just have to wonder if my income is going to dry up one day because of all this. So I'd much rather go high dollar drop shipping than affiliate. At least with high dollar drop shipping, when the business works, you're not going to have to worry about the ads getting shut off at any time because Google hates affiliate stuff to begin with, let alone misrepresenting it to make the numbers work. High dollar drop shipping, meaning, you're selling $10,000 home dialysis equipment for people that have diabetes, and they need to know which home dialysis equipment that is going to work for them. And you set up a website with various equipment on it. You answer the phone, you talk to them about what their needs are, you place them on a machine, and you keep $1,000 for that referral. Not, having them go to the site, bounce around and expecting that to work by default because your value to the market being there, that you answer the phone. The other 5 competitors selling those machines won't answer the phone, or they'll answer the phone and have some secretary who doesn't know anything about what they're doing answer questions, which don't help the user at all. And they end up maybe buying from you, but not enough. And the $10,000 equipment, it's easy to drop ship that because people that sell those machines are more willing to drop ship a $10,000 machine than a $100 pair of shoes because of what they get from it versus the $100 pair of shoes. You're a new nuisance to them. Essentially, they don't want to do drop shipping for you. But if you went to a jet company and said, hey, if I bring you a customer, will you give me a 10% cut? They'll almost always say yes. So you don't have to struggle for something to sell. It's just, you cannot, not to say it's impossible to write really, really good documentation on a website so that when people get to your site, they're so impressed that they'll just buy. You can do that, but you have to be really good at copywriting. It's just easier for most people to just answer the phone and help people because so few people are doing it, especially with AI now. Everybody wants to just send people through an AI meat grinder on their website, whatnot, to save money. And that works to your advantage. Just don't be the one company that does it. Don't be the one website that does it. And they'll buy from you at a very high rate, of which you don't even have to be the one answering the phone. You do it at first, and then you train somebody to answer the phone. Now, that's harder said than done, right? Because if they were that good on the phone, they could start their own little website selling the thing, and you could have a competitor. But at the same time, anybody could make $200,000-300,000 a year setting up a website, just like I described, answering the phone. You just got to be a product expert. You got to know everything about your product that you're selling, answer any question about the product that you're selling, answer the phone like you're supposed to, serve the market, answer people's questions. They'll buy from you because you got the trust once they've talked to you on the phone about 20 minutes about dialysis equipment, or at least at a high enough rate where the ad spend will pay for itself. Cruzel, how many World Cup games have you watched during your time off? I don't watch sports, as I mentioned. One thing I have seen as far as a trend goes is Europeans that are coming to the country, and then it's like their eyes are opened about how America is versus what they were taught. It's hilarious. I think every country has that. Like every country's government is going to tell you about how the other countries are so bad, and then you're not going to know that they're not bad until you go to those other countries. I thought American was the only one doing it. These other countries do the same thing. And one thing that they were bragging about was all the choice that's available. Yeah, just at the end of the day, there's so much choice. People almost can't make a decision anymore because there's too much available. And that there's air conditioning everywhere, which is really crazy to me because how is it that you don't have, air conditioning so cheap? Now, how is it in Europe they don't have air conditioning in buildings, like places of business at the very least? Why don't they all have air conditioning? It seems really odd. I was shocked when I heard that, and that I was like, "Wait, you like America because of air conditioning? Like what?" Mustafa, have you ever run evergreen webinars or any type of online webinar to sell a service? I heard great things about it. Is it true? I've run webinars with other clients. For our own agency, I was personally looking to do it as well for our click fraud software that we're getting ready to launch the full website that markets it in detail, and just basically going over the results of the software. Like, say, hey, look at this client before, after. Here's the result that they got. Oh, here's another client. Look what they're in this industry. Look what they got. And, answering questions and doing that kind of, webinar, if you will. And also just explaining more about how it works, people, answering questions, this kind of thing. Ultimately, I think all B2B is going to go this general direction because people haven't caught on to this yet. B2B, the old fashioned B2B methodology of just sending people to a landing page with people, just like, let's say they're ready to hire a cybersecurity firm. They're not just going to go to your website and after needing a cybersecurity firm and just fill out a form. Okay, unless they got a referral, that's not going to simply cut it. You're going to have a website that's really rich with content and information, and hope they stumble upon it and read enough information that they're eventually enamored enough with your brand to become an actual sales lead. And if you don't do this, you're just going to be left behind. As an extension to this, webinars are going to be it. You're going to have to hold webinars, and with this, or live streams, if you will, it's all basically the same thing, where you go through and educate the public about certain cybersecurity issues and so forth. Because, even if you do get somebody who is interested in cybersecurity services and needs to hire somebody, they're not going to trust just any one random company anymore. There's too many people out there doing this new style of marketing and, pushing ads at the webinar or whatnot, that you're just going to simply be left behind. So this also applies to any kind of, in terms of B2C, any technical service or product. So namely, like in the health space, if you got a product that can really help someone treat a knee injury, lose weight, whatever it is, it's going to be driving people to a webinar that's going to work the best. Why? Because people, they don't have trust for the company. You're not going to be able to, even if you have a really, really good landing page, okay, just asking them to buy all of a sudden, unless you got a really strong brand behind it already, where people can Google you and there's a mound of information everywhere saying you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, that's not going to be a feasible method for marketing your company anymore. Why? Because people don't trust anymore. There's too many bullshit scammers out there saying whatever it takes to sell whatever they're trying to sell. And you're going to have to do more than you used to. You already do. So you drive people to that, and then you, just like I was saying before about the B2B example, you start showing examples of where this has worked, and then you start asking the audience questions. What are you doing? What would you like to have happen? And then just through that mechanism alone, you will get results. So we do a lot of that type of thing for clients who sell health related products, supplements, stuff like this, stuff that's what I call like low trust industries or niches. If you're selling protein powder, this can work, but you also, because people know what protein powder is for muscle building, you can kind of send people to a landing page, particularly selling a branded product, and be fine. right? It's when you're selling the new protein powder that people don't know of, and you want, and assuming that was unique and had a unique property to it, you want to send them to a webinar so you have enough time to really explain things. Because the problem with the landing page is the average person's only going to probably spend 3-4 minutes on your landing page. Whereas if you can get them into a webinar, you can keep them on the webinar for 45 minutes. It's enough time to explain things at a deep enough level to them that they'll trust it enough to buy. That is why, and where, should I say, using a webinar is actually comes in handy, where you need to have a higher level of trust, which I've talked about this concept many times on my previous videos, how the longer somebody actually spends on your website, the more likely they are to buy. And so really what you're doing with your website, copywriting, imagery, video, all of it really is doing whatever it takes, whatever that is, to keep them on the site as long as possible, given that increases statistically the likelihood of that average person is going to buy. And it also can, by the way, include just keeping them on the phone for a long period of time, because the more time that they invested in that website and that brand, the more likely they are to buy. So this is like doing that same thing, but on steroids. It keeps the person involved, engaged in your brand for a very long period of time, and can be a very useful tool to make ad campaigns work as a result of all this. Of which, though, by the way, to kind of speak of the idea in and itself at a deeper level here, what we use at our advertising firm is we'll send people to a landing page which has basically it's going to sell them on a 2 to 3 minute video that they're going to want to watch, that then sells the webinar. So the change recently, as per what people used to do 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is instead of sending people to register for a webinar, you send people to a page and you say, hey, do you want to grow muscle 3 times as fast as you are doing now using a better quality protein powder? Then watch this short video to see what I'm talking about. And then they have to click a button, and then they watch the 2 or 3 minute video, right? Of which the end of that video pitches the webinar to show them the real evidence of this protein powder working. You explain a little bit about how it works, why it works, but you say, in order to see the real information that you need about this and whether it's going to work for you and examples of this working and so forth, and you're serious about this, you need to watch the full webinar, of which, you have a magic button that shows up 2/3 of the way through the video or whatnot, of which they click that button, a pop-up for the webinar registration comes up. They register, and then once they register, it redirects right away, ideally, to a pre-recorded webinar. Okay, and then that's your most common webinar funnel that will work. And then it all just comes down to, right, can you do the copy right? Anybody can put that together. Can you speak with enough conviction to compel people enough to buy that product? I mean, you certainly will have them on the webinar for a good long time. Can you actually give enough proof that what you do works, where you can get a return on investment of your ad spend? So we use these a lot nowadays for anything where the trust is low. And it's good to actually, instead of just sending people to a landing page, if you're struggling to get a good return, first of all, try a longer form landing page with more case studies and all this on it. But also just consider sending people to a funnel like I'm talking about instead, and see how that converts instead. Generally speaking, anything where you sell something for more than $100, that webinar funnel will work better than sending them to a standard landing page in terms of product, and more often than not in today's environment with B2B. So if it's a cheap product, maybe the landing page is good enough, and that'll win. So it's something to test and experiment with. The main thing why you don't see it is because people are just too lazy to put together a good webinar, to put together a 60-minute webinar that's structured right and all of this, people don't want to spend the time to put it together. They want a 2-paragraph explanation of what their product is on their website, and then they want that to sell their product, and it's just not enough in a lot of cases anymore. Carousel, what is the reasoning behind testing Gmail before discovery? It has not everybody uses it basically. So in my opinion, I don't know enough about it to speak about this, but I see it convert less. And I think that is because of the bot traffic. I haven't had it. I'd like to run a study on using our new click fraud software as to how much more bot traffic is on that particular channel. I haven't run that study yet. That is what I'm thinking, what is going on with it. Carousel, what is your top 3 favorite firecrackers? I don't do the firecracker thing anymore. Ideally, it would be the more powerful, the better. Levi, I'm finding success with smart bidding, 7.89x ROAS running search campaigns. I am not sure if I should copy paste or use a whole new manual bidding strategy like you recommended for auto repair. If you're already getting that, I would say I'd roll with what you have. That said, you're going to hit a roof on what you're doing at some point, and that's the time when I would start to break out the manual bidding strategy and SCAG setup and all the stuff we talked about earlier that I gave you the advice on earlier. So if you can scale, because that's a pretty good ROAS for that industry. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a little bit better, but for that matter, you guys, I've said this many times. No one strategy is going to be the be all end all for you guys. It's you roll out a strategy and then you roll out another one, and the previous strategy funds the next one. And the main reason for that is because you need different landing pages and different ad copy and different funnels often for different users that are at different points in the sales funnel. Where you find them on different websites. How you funnel them in from YouTube should be different than how you funnel them in from Google search. People that are looking for information on Google search should be funneled in a different way. And so in the end, a great multi-million-dollar strategy is going to be 5 or 10 different unique funnels. Ultimately, you start with the low-hanging fruit, and then you just keep expanding, knowing that each one that you do is going to take a while to get to work. But you invest the time and money now so that 6-12 months down the line, after you've ran enough data through it, refined it enough, it will be profitable. And then you can get the next thing going. And that's the process. Most people think that you get rich with PPC by finding an ad that works. That can occasionally happen, but more often than not, it's you found 100 ads that work that bring in a trickle of profit from each one. And that's more common. Anderson Silva. Hello. Do you use Portfolio TCPA in your campaigns? What is your take on it, and would you recommend using it? We do use it occasionally, mainly when we have a lot of campaigns, and it takes a lot of time to change the target CPA, like labor intensive wise. And we use it, of course, with shared budgets in combination. So otherwise, you would want to have different TCPA for each campaign at the very least, because each campaign is going to scale at a different rate. So you want the flexibility because a lot of people don't think about it this way, but the TCPA setting on a campaign is like a dial. Of course, the higher that it is, the more aggressive the campaign runs, and vice versa. So a certain campaign with a certain target CPA might just die in terms of impressions because the target CPA is too low. Whereas on another campaign, it could do just fine. Marketing, the same thing. So you want to be able to have the ability to set the target CPA different for each campaign based upon that campaign's ability to scale at whatever level of maturity that it's at, And yes, some might have to be set higher and some lower, but the combination of everything gets the TCPA that you want and that is profitable enough. And that's what you roll with versus having to have all the campaigns try to do the same thing and you're going to hamstring yourself. That makes sense. Carousel, what are your thoughts on using Similarweb for spying? I have a video about this that you can look up. If in short, it's okay. It's not the greatest, but ultimately I'm definitely going to look into it and use it as one of my part of my research every time. Don't use it by itself though, is what I'm saying. Anderson Silva again. What's your take on using Portfolio TCPA strategy for Google search campaigns, specifically targeting bottom of funnel products with phrase match keywords? Do you recommend it? Yeah, I mean, that combination of stuff is not something that like I rely on as an, you always take things on a case by case basis. Sometimes you need phrase match, sometimes you don't with portfolio bidding. So that they're kind of independent from one another. For the most part, the general premise of bottom of the funnel. So you going back to what I was saying before, guys, you guys always want to make things as easy as you can on yourselves. So when you start out, why not go after the stuff that's easiest to monetize? Exact match, buying terms, stuff with near me in it or services in it or whatever. Exact match, just a few keywords at first so you can, build up data behind those keywords quickly and just roll with that. When it works, then you go and you go after the second most likely thing to convert, and you just keep building your strategy up this way. This is how you build up to millions 5 years from now, one step at a time. Everybody wants to just make money overnight, throw everything, they set up some broad setup and then they run out of money and then they're out of the game. That's idiotic unless you have a ton of money that doesn't matter. You start out with the stuff that's most likely to convert, monetize that first, get it profitable first, and then work on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, just using what you're already making to finance the next thing. The guys that you see making millions in a niche market already, they did not start by just throwing a metric ton of money at it and then that was it. And then, they spent years that you don't see building it up, mostly the way that I'm just saying. Ashley Taylor, I'm running demand gen YouTube ads for insurance. We are using submit lead form as the conversion. We can only pick one conversion goal. We do send back solid policies through offline conversions. But those are set to secondary since we can only pick up one conversion. If we switch to just sold conversions, the lead cost goes way up. Okay, the answer that you should take away from this, Ashley, is you create a custom goal, and that custom goal can have more than one goal that you're optimizing for. Ultimately, I would optimize for both, and that should basically be your best option. Jesus, I enjoyed your Facebook video on the more creatives you push out, the more that you can make, but it seems some people think it is spamming the machine and it could backfire. There's always, there's a fine line with throwing too many ads at Facebook, like just like with Google, too many keywords where you're spreading yourself pretty thin. But more often than not, as I mentioned in that video, people do too less versus too many. I wouldn't necessarily worry about too many, particularly as there's limits now with how many you can do on Facebook to begin with. But all the big guys, the really serious marketers, are all doing tons of creative now with very specific messaging on it. That's just what works the best, and that's why they're doing it. Carousel. For an initial degen test for an affiliate offer, should we test search term, custom segments, in market, and a few other audience types in separate ad groups using the same creative in each ad group? I would do separate ad groups. You can more easily see what's working, what's not that way. How many ad groups should we start with? I do the buying searches as one, and then the competitors in another, and usually that's what I stick with. And then maybe have a separate campaign for remarketing. Think grow successful. I work on creating landing page builder like Unbounce, but it is intended to high ad spenders over 10K a month, where we personalize the funnel based upon the intent. How would you market it? Yeah, I mean, the main thing is that you got to realize about just marketing services as a whole. People are very skeptical about it in general, and you could tell somebody you have a proven method to make $1 million a month. You just pay 100,000 and you can get it. People are going to be so skeptical of it, they're just not going to do it. So you got to have, which kind of bites you in the ass, because once somebody knows something's working, of course they're not going to want to pay you much for it, because now they have the idea. They're like, why do I have to pay a lot? I know it works. I don't. And so you shoot yourself in the foot giving stuff away too early for too little money, with too little to be invested to even see it work, if that makes sense. So you got to have a way for them to not have to invest the farm to see and buy into the concept, but at the same time, not training them to want it so cheap to get in that they're always going to want it cheap. And so for the most part, unfortunately for this, I pretty much would have to say that just it's hard to get somebody, because they're already somebody who spends that kind of money. They're going to be very resistant about changing anything and very skeptical to switch over to your system. So what I did, I don't really have I'd have to think about it more. What I could, and this ain't going to be the answer that you like, but when I started my PPC agency in 2014 with no credibility, I had to go literally to companies and say, hey, I will increase your sales. And if I don't, you don't have to pay me, and you don't have to commit to anything up front. Just let me show you I can get you results. And if you like it after 3 to 6 months, we'll work together. And if you, that's what I would do. I'd do cold email and direct mail campaigns to people that I know already spending this amount of money. And I would set it all up for them, taking the gamble that it not only A, it works, but B, they know it works and like it. And then once they see it works, you're in the position to rip it all away. If they don't want to pay you after 6 months, you come back and say, hey, you like it? See, look at the numbers. If you don't like it, I'm going to take it and give it to somebody else. But hopefully we can work together here. That's what I'm going to do. Because if you try to say you need to pay all this and do all, it's just too much for them to do, right? It's going to be extremely hard to get them to set it up themselves / pay a lot to get it set up. But if you take all the risk, you can get them to keep paying you basically whatever you want once it's rolling already. Flame and Anvil. Hi, Corey. Have you ever used Claude yet for doing stuff? It's incredible. Great content. The last, keep it lit. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of stuff now. I'm actually making more and more content about how we're using AI more and more. The main, stuff is you can analyze your data really well with it. I won't get into any specifics here. I'm not going to have time today to go into stuff. If you want to see more about what to do, the important thing to know though about AI is it's not your cure all and end all be all. Just like you can't go to ChatGPT and like say, build me ChatGPT, how do I build a house? And then you just follow the instructions. That shit ain't gonna work. You use AI to automate stuff that you already know works, and you have a familiarity with it already. That's where AI's real use comes in. Flaming Anvil. Claude is great for sales and Google Ads research of your account. Yeah, I agree. Like just what I was saying, you can use it a lot just by analyzing your data and say, hey, where's some insights here? It can crawl through all your data and your stats and all that. Mustafa. I tried setting up Facebook conversional tracking. Setup is very different than G ads. how to track each step of the lead phone call conversion like Google Ads primary and secondary. It doesn't have the same system, which it should. And all you can do is set up different events for these things and just hope and pray that Facebook understands how to value them differently. And, obviously you can have a different a value tied to these events to kind of help facilitate this. But, you can optimize for only one thing in your account, of which you can make an event trigger if more, like if a phone call or a form fill, it can trigger the same event, essentially allowing you to campaign to optimize for more than one different conversion, if you will. But that's essentially the best way to do it is you have combined events, if you will, like that. Carousel. For DGen, if long form video is tough to produce, would you start with shorts and image first using search term custom segments, then test in market audiences separately and expand once proven? Shorts are going to be hard to get working unless you have really good video that is specifically made for shorts in that format to get it to work. I would start with not shorts, even though it's cheap, unless you're going to do what I just mentioned there. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to give you a formula that works without knowing the offer because everything is going to be different. I would have to know what you're marketing to give you the best option because you can long versus short might work better for that particular offer and whatnot there. Anderson Silva, does it make sense to raise the portfolio budget but set a lower max CPC to scale a search bottom of funnel campaign? Will it get cheaper conversions or hurt the volume? Yeah, I mean, I've talked about many times how lowering the CPC just gets you lower quality traffic typically. So what you got to do if you want to lower CPC is be better click-through rate, better conversion rates. And then you will get cheaper, but with the same or better quality. Otherwise, you'll just chop your foot off to save your hand. Carousel, have you tried Manus AI? If so, how have you been using it? I haven't not tried it. No, sorry. Maybe you can tell us about what you're using it for. AI makes a good assistant. The AI is good at the same time. It's more and more of our clients are saying that people are calling their sales department up and they're saying, no, why is our garage door have to cost that? Chat GPT said it should cost $100. Why are you saying it costs 300? Or, no, Chat GPT said I can use this today and I don't have to wait 3 weeks for it to actually dry and for it to cure or whatever first. And it's annoying the crap out of people or out of our clients. It's stupefying the public. Ultimately, it's people are outsourcing all critical thought to AI and they're using it as a way to just think for them. And that is a big mistake. If you, first of all, your part of your brain that is dedicated to critical thought is going to shrink and shrivel into nothing if you don't use your brain for critical thought. And second of all, ultimately, Chat GPT and AI, it's not creative in and itself. It allows you to just replicate what's already done. So in a lot of spaces, that's not going to be good enough, obviously. The important thing to know is it's just a tool. It's a tool to take something that you already do, in my opinion, and help you do it faster. Or do some data collection, but you still got to use your own mind to interpret whether it's right or wrong or whatnot, not just to take it for and accept it as fact right away. For whatever crazy reason, people will underestimate and not believe what a human expert tells them, but ChatGPT is always right without any kind of critical thought. And it's usually the AI is wrong more than the expert is wrong. So I don't know how, I do know why this is happening. Just It's not a replacement for strategy. It's a idea generator, and you still have to apply your own critical thinking to see if whether the ideas presented are good or not. I got accepted for your online free audit, Corey. I'm grateful. However, I made so many changes to my account recently that I'm thinking it might be a bad time. Well, we'll look it over and make the determination. I am pissed about I was running a feed only PMAX, added a ton of new products and messed it up. We all been there. This is why it's good that we look it over. Content is the bomb. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Nuh-uh. You like that? AI will make the world stupider. Ultimately, I just see like these big tech companies and the government and all that, they want people to not have critical thinking anymore. Just let the AI tell you how to think and don't question anything, right? Because then you can, whatever they want you to know, they can just make sure ChatGPT says it. And I think that's kind of like what's going on, right? Already I could tell people aren't able to do critical thought like they used to back 5 years ago before the AI stuff kicked in. And I don't it's only going to get worse. It's a phenomenal tool, but just like a calculator, right? If you use a calculator long enough, you could eventually figure out how stop thinking and figuring out how to do math. Use spell checker enough, you forget how to spell. You use ChatGPT enough, you're going to forget how to think. And that's the sad reality. I'm not going to be able to answer this last question, unfortunately. I know you're a new guy, Saeed, but I got another call that I have to get on here. And I'd be more than happy if you hop on next Monday, answer this for you. So I do apologize, and I do thank everybody for watching and coming to another live Q&A here for another week. I will be back next week. No vacation next week. Tomorrow will be our first review of Ben Heath and his content and what is good and bad about it. Honest review, what you could pick out of his content that for what it's worth, what you can take from it that is useful. Thank you everybody for coming. I'll see you on the next one.